What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Off the Wall channel. I'll be one of your hosts today. My name is Bogz. I want to start that again because that was so loud. Um, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Off the Wall channel. Today, we are reviewing the latest episode of The Boys. I'll be one of your hosts reviewing this episode today. My name is Bogz with my girl Sol today. How are you today, Sol?
Doing good. Excited to just talk about The Boys because I think you've said this, I've said this. It's my favorite superhero show on TV right now.
I'm absolutely gutted, quite frankly. There is only one episode left of the series, which will be the season finale next week, of course, at the time of this recording. But only one left, yeah. So we'll. I wish there was more. So much to cover and tie up and loose ends to do and stuff. But we'll review this episode and we can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comment section as well. But overall thoughts on this episode. So obviously the penultimate episode. The post Herogasm episode, how can they top that? That's what I kind of started with. But overall, what were your thoughts on it, and how it? We'll try and do no spoilers just for this section, and then we'll go ahead and spoil it after. But overall,
When we go into the spoilers, I'll say a prediction I had in a few episodes back. I don't know if you were there for that or if it was me and Mike reviewing. And while outside is so loud, I apologize. But I was like, I was right about something. I predicted something right. Usually I'm very wrong when I make my predictions. So I'm very excited that there was something that I predicted correct. This episode, the going into the mindset of some of these characters, where they're coming from, seeing how they kind of show love in a weird way. Like, I think a lot of this theme of this episode was love, but like shown in really weird ways. And how this season has shown how like people love each other in fucked up ways. So it was a very interesting episode, very more like in like the psyche of people, and I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah, character.
Mm-hmm.
They're the best parts of the show. It was all over this episode. I will say there were a few slow moments this episode, and it's probably the only episode I've really felt like that throughout this series. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but there were definitely slower moments where I think I picked up my phone once or twice just to check that kind of thing. A few slower scenes there from maybe just characters that I don't that I like less than other characters, maybe because it spent a lot of time, like I said, character developing. So but yeah, we've got some nice reveals, of course, and yeah, lots of filling in characters' histories and things. I've got some answers as well. So overall, yeah, strong episode, but it did have some slower moments that didn't work for me, which I will get into as well. So yeah, that is the non-spoiler things. We'll get into the spoilers now. Spoiler section of the review, of course. Watch out. Okay, so the stuff that I guess we'll start with the stuff that I disliked, which was for me spending too much time with and Kamiko and Frenchie. I know I've said this a few times this series, and even before this, talking about the boys, previous series. But for me, yeah, some of the scenes between Kamiko and Frenchie, like we've kind of already seen this stuff in the dance that they have,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the powers again. Like okay, like yes, we know that you take the V. Is it you? Is it the V? Yeah, okay, we've done this dance before. There's so many other important stories to be telling. I'm just not particularly interested in that story. And the whole with this kid thing, again, we've seen that several times already. That's not anything new. The teacher or whoever took him to see Homelander, he wasn't happy. Yeah, we've seen this again. So them scenes, I was just really, really dull for me. And like I said, I was picking up my phone, looking at the time, just waiting for it to get onto the next scene, which was almost electric, and then going to this a bit slower scene. But that's just me. I know you like it, and people do, but just for me, they are the least interesting stories from all the characters. So yeah, is there anything you didn't like about the show? Anything you wish they did differently about this episode?
I think I love Frenchie and Kamiko, but I can agree with you that they're kind of in a different show than everyone else. And I guess in a sense, like that's a palate cleanser a little bit. And I really enjoy like their scenes together, but they definitely could be their own series. and it be completely different from what's going on in this series, and I would watch the hell out of it. So I can kind of see the little bit of a tonal shift between what's going on in the show and the plot that's moving forward, and then like the Frenchie and Kamiko stuff's kind of happening on the side. I fully agree that that is happening on the side. I just love the two of them so much. Yeah, with MM, although completely deserved that guy getting socked in the face, like I was just like, yes. Even though I know he didn't like it doing that because he did it in front of his daughter. Um, my prediction was correct. I was like, he's gonna take her to like a rally. I was like, it's gonna be Homelander doing like a Trump rally kind of thing. And I was like, that's what's gonna but I expected it to be a little bit more. It was such a short part of the episode that it was like, if this is not gonna be a bigger scene, if this is not gonna be more integral to the plot, why is this little thing happening in the episode? We didn't need it. So I think it was it was one of those things of like either don't have it at all or flesh it out a little bit more.
Yeah, and like I said, we've seen his struggle with his daughter before. He has to suck it up with other people in terms of accepting, or well, obviously not accepting, but he has issues with people, and how they're dealing with the soups and stuff like that. But I understand he has to take out his frustration somewhere, so he takes on this guy. But I've just seen that similar kind of scene and storyline play out, and it not really go anywhere. It's just a thing that he brings up every couple of episodes. And the same with Kamiko and Frenchie as well. They've been doing this kind of dance around her powers the last few episodes. Obviously, they need her for the final episode in terms of having her powers back. I get that. But I think maybe they're doubling down on it because one of them is not going to make it out of the series, potentially. That's a theory of mine that
they love each other, Bogz.
Yeah, I think, but again, these are indicators that one of them isn't gonna make
I
out because
know,
they're
and it
purposely
makes me
spending,
sad.
yeah, they're purposely spending a lot of time on these two, showing how cute they are, whatever, showing their little relationship and how much they like each other. But again, I don't think one of them will make it out. So yeah, going on to the stuff that I think is great, all the stuff with Black Noir. I mean, the animated like Roger Rabbit style, awesome. Quite frankly, like I'm not not watched this kind of 2D animation in a while, so just seeing like a classic 80s 90s kind of animated movie series like come to life in The Boys, and the way they told it, with the characters and with the voices, it was great. It was so clever, so entertaining, and yeah, it filled in his backstory completely, which we pretty much didn't get anything for him prior to this. So yeah, filled all of that in. Now we know why he's kind of scared of Soldier Boy, and he's going to confront him now. And it was his idea to kind of sell him out, really. But was it justified? Was it not? Now you kind of understand that. So now he's all of a sudden this mute character is now relatable. So or they're trying to be relatable. So yeah, what do you think of the whole Black Noir, Roger Rabbit style storytelling and yeah, and all the characters and stuff?
What an interesting way to do a flashback. Like, we don't get a flashback, we get this guy who obviously is troubled. Obviously, like, we saw in the last time there was a flashback, and we've seen him like under the mask before, that he's deformed and that like he got hit in the brain a lot. Like, so he's not completely
split
there.
open,
Yeah. You see Homelander, like when Homelander's talking, he's just doodling. Like, he's not completely 100% there. But I think these characters might have been with him before that, because they were like, oh, we were there for you in elementary school when this was happening. So he's had these host of characters with him to protect him, and I guess so he was probably fucked up before he got brutally hit in the head by Soldier Boy. But just a way of like, oh, we want to tell his backstory, we want to do the flashback, but we're going to do it in a cartoon version that is all in Black Noir's head. I don't think I've ever seen that before in a show or a movie, and I was like, this is so clever, and I loved it. I loved every second of it.
It did remind me of the animated I forgot the character's name in Loki, the clock character
Miss Minutes.
Yeah. So it reminded me of that style animation a little bit. Yeah, it was really good. Like you said, like doing it. Obviously, they've done flashback scenes in The Boys as well, just doing it completely differently, in such a unique, smart, clever way. There was so many scenes of so many different characters. I really liked. Um, the deep scene, when he's obviously with his girlfriend, and he explains that I want to
His
try this
wife.
thing. Sorry, his wife. Yeah, he wants to
Yeah.
try this, bringing another thing in. She listens to him, and how many other people, I guess, would have had that conversation before. So, and then obviously not turn out like that. And then even when they kind of have a fight at the end, and she
Yeah.
goes like, "You're an idiot," and then he's like, "Oh, why would I be an idiot if someone says I'm a mate?" Like he's an idiot. We know he's an idiot. She knows he's an idiot. She knows, we know that he's 100% reliant on his wife, so that's
Mhm.
obviously going to get him in trouble. He pretty much this season, he's just a cameo in every episode. But I do like full well, I do love my disturbed, deranged, weird characters, and he's definitely one of them. He's definitely one of my favorite characters. But I wish I could see him more. But the little we do get him is really funny. But yeah, what do you think about the deep sea?
I think that if we got more of him, it would have been too weird and too much. I think we get the perfect amount of him to make it funny and like just be like,
Yeah, like, hey, she's a she. It's a she, and
yeah,
she wants to touch you. Like what? Like, sure.
and it's just like you've seen that in like other shows or like, oh, I want to bring someone else into the bedroom,
Right.
but not in the same way
Yeah.
because it's the deep, and we saw a little bit of that action in the Hero-gasm, but
Mm-hmm.
now he wants to have that with his wife, and his wife is like, no, I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. Rightfully so. Like, this is
Right.
the one time that I'm on his wife's side because a lot of times I'm like, his wife is creepy because she's the one running everything and he's
Mm.
doing everything that she says. And that's why he's good with Homelander. That's why he's gotten good with everyone else. Probably she might have wrote his book for him. Who knows?
Probably. She's
So
like a vault employee who's like,
yeah,
it's all a PR thing, a setup. Like she's had to audition for it, kind of. That's what it feels like
yeah.
watching her.
Although she was with the Church of the Collective, I think was
Mm.
what it was called. So she was one of them, but I guess she's very much like a Vault employee. But yeah, you do it on your own without me, see how far you get. So I have some I predict some fuck ups by the Deep in the next episode. And Homelander was saying if the Deep fucks up, it's Ashley's head.
Mm.
So Ashley might die next episode because of the Deep.
Possibly. So yeah, let's move on to another character or storyline. So I'll go with Billy here, Billy's storyline. So again, I thought that was so good. Getting
Mm.
his flashback in that way, being in this kind of hypnotized trance thing, and whilst they're on a mission as well, to be caught out, and then you finally learning about Billy's backstory, about his father. Obviously, we do see his father in last season, but they're obviously talking about I think his name is Freddie. Is that his brother's name? Freddie. It was your fault,
Lenny.
Lenny. Sorry, yeah, Lenny. It was your fault. You didn't know obviously what he's referring to. You don't really 100% know why he's just that way inclined and how he behaves and acts. Like, where does that come from? And you get the backstory, and obviously see how he's been brought up and how he's been abused, and obviously what happened to his brother, and he had obviously a say in that situation, and he didn't get involved. He's begging himself not to leave, really sad stuff. So yeah, obviously dealing with all kinds of trauma.
Mhm.
But I don't know if you noticed, or in the background, he had the football
Yeah.
kind of flags on the poster. He had
I was
like
just
every
like,
London team. Yeah,
I
what
was
team
like,
do you
which
support?
team
What's
is
their
that?
logo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of an ironic thing because of his accent. It's just like a generic London accent, and I don't know, maybe something about that because I've never really seen that
And
before. Why
Carl
would you have
Urban's
every
a
team?
Kiwi, so
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's a question though, is that what uniforms look like in the UK? Their school
Uh,
uniforms?
I don't remember. Was he had a shirt and blazer and tie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them, yeah. Some do, some don't. It depends on the school, really. But yeah. I like the dad as well as an actor. I thought he was super creepy and abusing his sons, and you kind of understand why he is how he is now because of that upbringing and all the trauma that he's had. But and as well I forgot the character's name that hypnotized him, but him being in his head to kind of see that this guy's messed up. You know, I don't want to wake him up, and obviously Huey explaining that, oh, he's my family, so we have to
Yeah.
help him, and then obviously leading up towards the end of the episode where Starlight explains to him that if you guys take 3 to 5 doses of this, it could be fatal, could be lethal, and him purposely not telling Huey at that point. I think he will. I think he was in some point in the
Yeah.
last episode, obviously, because we do see we do see obviously their family, right? So we do see, and he's
Mm-hmm.
going to have his second chance to save like a younger brother. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
see that coming. So he will. He's not like he won't tell him completely. I don't feel anyway. So I think he will tell him at some point, but obviously there wasn't the right time because they still need him to take on Homelander. But yeah, what do you think about the Billy, Billy storyline, Huey storyline, and of course mixed in with Soldier Boy, and his on the hunt and everything like that as well.
What a sad, like, troubled, like, past that Billy Butcher has had. And the fact, too, that, like, the way that they use, like, the camera work and the, like, scenes of, like, going between Lenny and Huey, like, and then going between Billy and his father. And so you're just like, oh, Butcher sees himself as his dad, who was an abuser. And he sees Huey as his little brother that he couldn't save.
Mm-hmm.
And then that like scene at the end where like everyone was ignoring um regular Billy Butcher, like our time Billy Butcher in the scenes because they were all scenes that he was there for, but he wasn't there for his brother's death. So that's completely made up in his head. And so that was a conversation between him and his little brother there. And his little brother was just like, everyone you love dies. Goes his wife, Lenny, and then like Huey's gonna die too. So you really, because there's always been questions on, okay, he cares about him in some weird way, but he really does love Huey, and Huey really does love him back. They're family, they care about each other. And so I have a theory that like he didn't tell Huey because I think he wants Huey to help him break into the place to get some more temp V, or to either A, take it all himself so that way he's the one with the temp V and protecting Huey and everyone else, and outside uh, but protecting Huey and everyone else. Or it's gonna be he knows that Huey took too much and he might die, and so therefore he's gonna give him the regular V to make him a soup to protect him. So that's kind of like my theory here with that. But just the fact, like, just how traumatic it was, how much he couldn't save his little brother. It's really not his fault that his brother died, but he holds that blame and that guilt for it. And therefore, now Huey is his little brother, and his little brother was the one that was keeping him from being like his father. So Huey's really the only one that's guiding him to not be a complete dick and awful. So it's kind of just like Huey's all he's got because everyone else is turning against him. Starlight, Frenchie, Kamiko.
Yeah, and then obviously he's all he's got in this, and he's still tricking him to
Yeah.
obviously not telling him about the V, and the hook, the juiced up
Mm-hmm.
as well, basically. So even that's still not a kind of normal bond or friendship to have.
Yeah.
But I think that's just weird, is just, or uncomfortable, is, or lying is just a part of life to him, and stuff. So I'll fly through a few other storylines before we get to kind of towards the end. Obviously with A Train as well, him kind of waking up in hospital. He's on the kind of mend, and we learn from Ashley that he has what's the character's name? Sorry, is it Blue Hawk?
Blue Hawk.
Yeah, Blue Hawk's heart.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, he doesn't have any more heart disease issues moving forward. Obviously, again, without his permission, didn't really have much say in it. Super confused. But yeah, that just shows how kind of brutal Vought is, and yeah, and just with A Train, obviously he continues to make bad decisions, and then has to deal with the consequences. He tries to do things for the team, right or wrong, doesn't pay off. So yeah, he's a conflicted character. But yeah, he's got it rough at the minute. And I'll also say Starlight and obviously, well, Maeve as well. In fact, I'll come to Maeve scene in a second. Starlight obviously standing up to Homelander with, it's good to see because we see a few characters, which I'll come to in a second as well, standing up to Homelander. Even with the Instagram thing now, she can like threaten that with him at any time. It's like a safety net because obviously the plane thing was at first, but obviously he doesn't kind of really care about that anymore. So now it's the live stuff. Obviously using social media and current kind of things as well to address that, and even the way they address the media and like current political, like how corporations work and things like it is really really clever. So I don't really see that real kind of criticism, if you like political criticism about identity politics, about the show being woke, about if you're right or left. It just seems whatever your kind of belief is, people just like the show. It seems to be it seems to miss all of this stuff. So even though they do it, they absolutely talk about politics and racism and sexism, whatever, literally every single episode. So it's just, I find it's because the writing is so good that it kind of transcends all of that stuff. So
if you do it right, then you do it right. I think that's with you and I, we talk about this all the time. If you're doing it right, then it's going to be an enjoyable show. If you're just hamming it in for one reason or another without actually caring about what you're talking about, then it's going to look off.
So we'll get into, we have two things I want to touch on. So firstly, Homelander, obviously the OG of the series for me, but him obviously with Maeve stuff, he continues to be creepier and creepier and creepier every episode. Just as you think he can't get worse, he does. Like with the whole, I'm going to freeze your eggs I'm going to keep you alive. And after she stands up to him, he threatens her with like some weird, obviously some kind of,
I'm gonna use you to have my babies.
Right, without your kind of permission. It's like a non-contact, like it's a bit like I don't know, it's just super creepy. It's and obviously, like I said, he no matter how people stand up to him, people object to him, he'll always go lower and lower. He's got no kind of bounds. So that's obviously the Maeve stuff. So and obviously the Starlight stood up to him as well. And then obviously he has a confrontation with Soldier Boy, which we'll come to in a second. But what do you think about the Maeve scene and obviously Starlight standing up to him as well and all that stuff?
I want to also go to the A-Train and Blue Hawk, like him having the heart of the person who paralyzed his brother.
Right.
That's something to think about too. Like, oh, the person who I murdered because they paralyzed my brother, his heart is now in my body. And I love too, even in the sense, the part that I laughed at that scene was just like, do you care about talking shit about Starlight? And he was like, nah. And that made me crack up because it was just like, we have to do exactly what to make spin our stories. So even you're waking up in a hospital bed, we're not gonna wait a second. Just like, hey, you gonna talk shit about Starlight? Let's talk shit about Starlight.
Yeah, sure. That's nothing. Even though his mind's on so many other things. Like, of course.
Right. But with Starlight standing up, he admitted to murdering I keep forgetting the Latino's name, which is
Supersonic.
Supersonic. Yeah. So he admitted to murdering Supersonic and wanting to murder Huey on her Instagram live there. Yeah. And then switches to his voice that he uses with the public. And so I think from that moment, you're hearing how he talks and then a switch over. And I'm sure he doesn't talk like that at all in any of his movies. So he's like, oh, you're not supposed to record us when we're doing lines. I'm sure in his movies, he sounds like his fake persona. So that was very clever on Starlight there. I think she's finally learning how to play the game, but play the game in the way that she wants to. That's not going to get rid of her morals. Because she's one of those, these are my morals and I'm sticking to it. fuck everyone else. I'm doing
Mm.
what is right. So I like that she's playing the game a little bit and she's not scared. With Maeve, that was such an interesting scene because yeah, it was so creepy, keeping you alive so that way we can have kids. But like, I'm not gonna rape you because I respect you because you're a superhero. You're a soup. If you weren't a soup, I'd probably rape you. But since you're not a soup, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to freeze your eggs so that way we can make the perfect race of soup babies. So that was super super creepy. Um, but I love that she was just like, "This is still one of the top 3 days of my life because I saw you scared." So he can get bruised because he has a bruise on his face. He's scared. We're seeing him. We saw him scared in the last episode for a little bit. We're seeing him more scared now, and that's such an interesting place because we've never seen him in that place before. And I think he's more dangerous when he's scared, and he was already pretty freaking dangerous.
Yep, we shall see. And then, uh, obviously, just want to touch on Soldier Boy. What a awesome addition to the series. He's funny. He
Hmm.
has a charm to him. He's got a history. Obviously, conflict with so many characters. He's brutal. His powers are awesome. Um, and yeah, similar how he killed his I forgot the guy that does the hypnosis, forgot his name, but similar to what he did to Black Noir, with just like the
Hmm.
shield and knocking it into the head. He's like his
Reminded me of
finishing move.
Falcon and Winter Soldier a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
for sure. And then obviously we get the reveal at the end where God knows how I didn't see that coming, or how I didn't guess that before. Like it's so obvious in hindsight, but yeah, obviously we got the reveal that Soldier Boy is in fact Homelander's father, and yeah, it makes perfect sense, timeline wise, and the similarities and we see the parallels throughout the
Hmm.
series, which we spoke about before, but we just never spelt it out like that. Um, yeah, he's like a Soldier Boy 2.0, I guess Homelander is, and just yeah. So now there's a completely different dynamic going on now. So are they going to meet up? Are they going to team up? Are they going to have a certain bond now? Obviously Homelander, how conniving and how low he goes. I have no doubt he will try and use this to his advantage. And will he do it, against the boys or to turn on the public? Maybe, I don't know. So these possibilities are fascinating, and I think it was just the right thing that Homelander needed at the time, just to create just to give him a kind of new lease of life and probably destroy half the world or something. But uh, what about you? Overall thoughts on that reveal? Did you call it before? Did you have any idea, or and where do you think it'll go from here?
I think I was watching something like like someone was reviewing like in the comics. I think he's his father,
Okay.
so I kind of knew on that and like kind of like, oh, is this gonna happen? Or is like someone like either they theorized it or it's in the comics. It's one of the two.
Mm.
Let us know down below. But so I was just like, oh, this is a possibility, but I didn't really think it was gonna happen. But it's like that makes sense. It was because he's like, yeah, I'll kill Homelander. Tells Billy, like, if we get everyone on payback, I'll kill Homelander. But now he knows Homelander's his son. And he spoke about, I wanted to have children with the Crimson Countess, like, kind of thing. And
Mm.
that didn't happen. So, like, having sons to him was very important. Kind of in the same way of, like, Homelander said, I wanted to have children with you, Maeve. Like, so much like his father. Uh, but he does have a child. We haven't seen him for a while. Is he showing up in the next episode? Is Ryan going to show up in the next episode? We'll see. Um, but I don't know if they're going to team up, but I don't see Soldier Boy killing him. So it's going to be. It could be one of those things where like he protects Homelander, but he doesn't like fight with Homelander. I'm not really sure what's going to happen now. It's going to be an interesting dynamic when all of them meet up. I feel that like Kimiko is going to be in the fight. I feel Butcher's going to be in the fight. I think he's going to try to make it so Huey's not in the fight because he doesn't want Huey to die. But I really don't know what's going to happen. And that's exciting for me that I can't guess.
Yep, all of that I think will potentially happen, and Starlight, Huey, someone's going to sacrifice himself or putting themselves in harm's way, and either way, we're going to get some epic, fight scenes and storylines and tie-ups, some emotional stuff. So, like I said at the start, gutted that there's only one episode left. But what do you guys think of this episode? Any predictions, thoughts on the final episode, which will be coming next week? But thanks everyone for watching. If you do like what we do here on the channel, please, like, comment, subscribe. And like I said, comment on the video and any other videos that we drop, and share us on socials if you like as well. But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you on the next review or reaction on Off the Wall.